So namaste. So it's a privilege for me to to address to this August gathering. So, but the topic assigned for me to talk is about spiritual and scientific differences of yoga. So before that, I would like to say, I have brought greetings from Central University of Rajasthan. So, and I'll also try my level best to justify this topic. So we'll try to understand what is spirituality. Spirituality is the discipline of having knowledge about the soul or the spirit. If you refer Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, so one of the sloka goes like this: Gnanam Anandam Atma. Our spirit or the soul is full of wisdom. Gnanam. Ananda means full of bliss. And therefore, the whole philosophy revolves around these three questions. The three questions are: who am I? Where do I come from? And what is the purpose of my life? But I think till date, no one has answered, except beside yogis. No one is able to answer who am I? Where do I come from? And what is the purpose of my life? But if you read some yoga text, the goal of life is to attain moksha. That is the purpose of the life, to attain moksha, to attain nirvana, to attain nirvana. There are many paths to attain this nirvana. There are many paths to attain moksha, the liberation. But I will talk about the four paths, the four popular paths: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga. So through the selfless action, you can attain nirvana or the liberation. Through the intense devotion, you can definitely attain liberation. Through wisdom, you can attain liberation. And through your willpower, definitely you can attain liberation. So again, in the yoga, we do talk about not only the human body, not only the gross body. In the yoga, we do talk about three different forms of the bodies. They are the Sthula Sarira, Sukshma Sarira, and Karana Sarira. Sthula Sarira is the gross body that you feel, that you experience, that you make the body to move. And it is made up of matter. Matter is made up of molecules and atoms. Astral body, it is the Sukshma Sarira. It is the subtle body. And it is made up of prana, or the life force, or the energy. I would not say energy, it is made up of vital force or life force. And the casual body, it is also called Karana Sarira. The literal meaning for Karana Sarira is the casual body. This is nothing but our spirit or Atma or the soul. In Taittiriya Upanishad, there are discussions about 5 layers of existence. And the 5 layers of existence are the gross body called Annamayakas, the pranic body called Pranamayakas, the mental body, the psychological, the mental state is called Manamayakasa, the seat of wisdom called Vijnanamayakasa, the seat of bliss is called Anandamayakasa. If you make a correlation between the Panchakasa and the three Sarira, Sthula Sarira is our Annamaya Kasa or the gross body. Sukshma Sarira is the subtle body, and it is the combination of three Sarira and three Kasa. They are Pranamaya Kas, Manamaya Kas, and Vijnanamaya Kas. And Karana Sarira is our Anandamaya Kas, it is our soul, it is our spirit. And Sukshma Sarira is the subtle body. So, and then if we try to correlate the state of consciousness of the three body, so during Jagrata, the Sthula Sarira, the gross body is active, and therefore we can talk, we can stare at someone, we can laugh, we can move, we can digest, we can think. But during Susupti, Jagrata means wakefulness, Susupti means deep sleep. During deep sleep, it is like, the way you recharge your battery, the same way you recharge your Sukshma Sarira, your pranic body, mainly the pranic body, or I would say the Pranamaya Kasa, so that the next day you will feel yourself rejuvenated and you will ready to walk. So, Susupti is that. Susupti is that phenomena that recharges the Sukshma Sarira. Recharges, it is like the Sukshma Sarira is like a rechargeable battery during daytime, since the Sthula Sarira keeps working, moving. So you deplete the energy, deplete your prana, and then you require the Susupti to recharge this. And what is Sapna? Sapna means dream sleep. It is like a connecting thread between the Atman and Paramatman, the individual consciousness and the supreme consciousness, or the, you and the cosmos. Okay, so dream is like a connecting thread. And during the dream, your Atman is active, your soul is active. So for every dream, there is a latent cause. But it has become like a dream. The neuroscience says we see dream because our brain wants to wipe out the information in the form of dream. When your brain is overloaded with the information, the brain will create the dream to wipe out the information. But that hidden cause is lost, that latent cause is lost. And the hidden cause is to establish a connection between you and in the cosmos. So Swami Sivananda says, like, yoga is a purification method. According to Swami Vivekananda, Swami Sivananda, yoga is a purification method. And we cannot directly switch over to yoga. So he says, do and do. To dilute your ego, to dilute your ahankar, to dilute yourself. Give and give. Give and give. To, expand your heart. Love and love to purify your heart. So once you are ready with this, then yes, you can definitely do the purificatory practices like asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha. So all the techniques are the purification technique. And once you are ready with this, you are eligible to purify yourself. You are eligible to do asana. You are eligible to do pranayama. You are eligible to do mudra, bandha. And then you can meditate because you have a purified body. Your body is pure. So there are no more elimination, there are no more origin of toxin and the morbid matter of the body. So your mind is absolutely free and your mind is ready for meditation. And when you know that your mind is ready for meditation, and during meditation you can realize. So this is a cascade. This is a staircase. This is like a pyramid. So you start with karma yoga, and then you realize you become a realized soul. But in the current era, we suddenly jump into this. Everyone wants to do asana. everyone wants to do pranayama. So they jump into the purificatory practices. They want to jump into the purificatory practices, ignoring these three staircases. So what is the contribution of a yogi to the current world? The contribution is definitely enormous. The contribution of a yogi to the current world is definitely enormous. A yogi has given enormous contribution to this society in the form of purificatory practices. What are those? I would say Kaya Suddhi, Prana Suddhi, Mana Suddhi, Indriya Suddhi, and Jnana Suddhi. And the last but not least, Atma Suddhi. Kaya Suddhi means purification of the body. Prana Suddhi means purification of the prana. Mana Suddhi means purification of the mind. Indriya Suddhi, purification of your senses. And Jnana Suddhi is purification of your knowledge. In other words, I would say culturing the wisdom within you, building up the wisdom within yourself, purifying the intellect and building up the true wisdom within yourself. And Atma Suddhi means purification of the soul or the spirit. So there are definitely, the yogi has contributed different technique to purify the body. Kaya Suddhi, Yogasana is one of the example. Kriya, the cleansing technique, yogic cleansing technique is one of the example. Patya and apatya, what to be eaten and what not to be eaten, is well explained in the ancient yoga text. What is to be eaten, what is conducive for the health, and what is not conducive for the health is well described in the yoga text. That is the contribution of the yogis. Similarly, for the prana suddhi, for the purification of the prana, for the life force or the vital force, the yogi has contributed pranayama. So pranayama is a technique. Pranayama is the technique. And what is the objective behind doing pranayama? The objective is to prolong the duration of Kevala Kumbha. It is the automatic cessation of the breath. It is the breath suspension. Therefore, it is always said that pranayama is of two types, Sahita pranayama and Kevala pranayama. And the objective of all the pranayama technique is to attain the breath suspension, prolong the duration of Kevala Kumbha. What about Manasuddhi? The technique that yogis have contributed to all of us is dhyana. And what is the objective of doing dhyana? To attain the sunyavastha. Sunyavastha means the mind devoid of thoughts. The mind devoid of thoughts. So when you prolong the duration of Kevala Kumbhaka, you would attain this state of the mind. And this state of the mind is also called Unmanyavastha, mind devoid of thoughts. Then Indriya Suddhi. Indriya means the purification of the five senses. What is the objective? One of the technique yogis have contributed called Antarmauna. This is also one of the examples of Pratyahara technique. And what is the objective? To arrest the networking of the sense organ. And all of you know, you cannot, your networking, the networking of the sense organs are so large, it is difficult to control them. But there is a technique which helps us to arrest that networking, cut down that networking, to chop that networking, and this technique is called Antarmauna. Similarly, for Jnanasudhi or the purification of the jnana or the wisdom, we indulge ourselves into Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means self-study. Siddhanta Bhakya Sravana means satsang. We very with a conviction, we do attain the satsang of a master. And all these are like, the advices. The advices we imbibing. We culture. And we grow with those advices. We grow with those anushasana, with those discipline. And what is the objective? Correction of the notion. One of the example I would say, how would you correct your notion? Our modern physiology says eating non-veg is very good because non-veg food is the direct source of iron. But in the, but the plant products are not the direct source. So there is a conflict between your intelligence and the wisdom. Wisdom say, my grandfather, my mother, my father, they say, my guru has said, do not eat non-veg, ahimsa, ahimsa. But my physiology books say, medical physiology books say it is the direct source of energy. So here comes the role of Swadhyaya, Siddhanta Vakya Sravanam. You recall the words of your master, and master say, do not indulge yourself into violence. And then you correct your notion. This is called Jnanasudhi. And what is Atma Suddhi? Atma Suddhi, what is the objective? Atma Suddhi means purification of the Atman, purification of the soul. For me, Samadhi is the technique. Samadhi is the technique for the purification, because this is one of the technique in which we wipe out all the impressions that are associated with the I. And the ultimate aim of every yogi is to attain Nirbija Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or I would say the Nirvana. That is the objective. That is all discussed in spirituality. That is all discussed in spirituality. But we will try to understand what is science, and what is the objective of science, and what is the role of science in spirituality. The objectives are very simple. Okay, the objectives are to satisfy the scientific community, isn't it? To satisfy the scientific community, we do carry out a lot of research to align the findings with the modern medical science. And always we are after the experiment to establish, we are after the findings to establish an underlying mechanism to translate our findings into facts. And in our science, we do use the different technique. We do use the scientific tools. The scientific tools are the electrophysiological tools, neuroimaging tools, neuropsychological tools, and the biofeedback tools. But we do not carry out any research study using the invasive procedures. Invasive procedure. We always take the help of non-invasive procedure, means the procedure in which there is no chance of tissue injury. So our scientists have done a lot of research using a tool called electroencephalography. What is the principle of this machine? It is based on the physics principle, source and sink of the ionic potential in the apical dendrites of the pyramidal neuron. So this is how you find the waveforms in the EEG screen. This is how you hook up the electrode from the surface of the skull. So many research studies, so they have reported that, so while doing meditation, there will be dominance of alpha waves. Many studies have said there will be mixture of alpha and delta wave. Many studies says there will be, mixture of theta and delta wave. So what to believe and what not to believe. So therefore, the conclusion is found to be inconclusive. Evok potential. All of you know evok potential, again another electrophysiological tool. What is the principle? It is based on the collective activity of the neurons. And again we pick up the activity from the surface of the skull based on the summative electrical activity, neurons in the cortex. And there are three varieties of evok potential. Brainstem auditory evok potential, brainstem or short latency evok potential, middle latency evok potential, and long latency evok potential. Many research in the West suggests that if you do, the right nostril breathing, there will be contralateral hemispheric dominance. Means if you do the Suryanulama, Vilama here, then your left brain will get activated. Similarly, if you do the left nostril breathing, your right hemisphere of the brain will get activated. But some of the research in India suggests that if you do the right nostril breathing, there will be ipsilateral effect. Ipsilateral means same side. When you do right breathing, right nostril breathing, the right brain will get activated. The left nostril breathing, left nostril will get activated. Now what to believe? Whether it has the ipsilateral effect or the contralateral effect, what to believe? So again, it is inconclusive. So there are many other things, like polygraph. All of you know polygraph is a tool in which you can measure. That is a that is a machine, or that is the equipment using which you can definitely record the ECG, electromyogram, electroculogram. You can galvanic skin resistance, oxygen saturation, breathing rate, heart rate, many more things you can record. Invasive blood pressure you can record. One of the technique which is becoming, which has been used by many scientists is called the heart rate variability. And many of the scientists have demonstrated that by doing meditation, you can definitely have the activation of the vagus nerve, or there will be overdrive of the vagus nerve, and there will be lower activity of the sympathetic nerve. So some says overactivity of the vagus nerve, some says it is the balance between the sympathetic and the vagus nerve, some says it is the lowering the activity of the humoral factor. Again, these findings are found to be inconclusive. But definitely, if you do meditation, if you do, relaxation technique, definitely the blood pressure drops, heart rate drops, respiration drops. So all these are the obvious parameters of the polygraph. Even oxygen will remain intact, saturation of oxygen will remain intact. But in the heart rate variability, we have already demonstrated that, either there will be a shift towards the vagus activation or the activation of the vagus nerve, or there will be a balance, there will be equilibrium between the sympathetic and the vagus nerve. Okay, so again we are not reaching towards a common finding. So polysomnography, again it is based on the principles of bioelectric potential, and by using poly means many, somno means sleep. So during the sleep, you can record many variables at a time. You can record EEG, you can record electromyogram, electroculogram, electrocardiogram. You can record the positioning of your body parts. You can record your, snoring. You can record the breathing rate, heart rate, oxygen saturation, many more variables. So using the Brahma Kumari meditator, we had found that, that dream sleep is found to be lower compared to the deep sleep. In Brahma Kumari meditation, deep sleep is found to be more. Similarly, transcendental meditation, again there is mixture of theta and delta wave corresponding to Turiya. So the scientists say it may be one of the state of Turiya. It may be leading to the avastha or the Turiya avastha. There are many other things. So during the following, or there are many facts. I would say many facts. But I would say again, we are not in a position to arrive at a single conclusion yet. There is another. Now I'll be talking about the neuroimaging. What are the neuroimaging technique we have used so far? The neuroimaging, one of the technique we have used is transcranial Doppler. So you can see mainly in the middle cerebral artery, you can see what is the flow of the blood to the middle cerebral artery, to what velocity the blood is flowing. So all that you can see. And there are many studies that says that, definitely during meditation, it is quite difficult. But, scientists have tried to find out whether the Kapalbhati improves or promotes the blood supply to the brain. And the question is, and the answer is no. No, Kapalbhati, neither the practice of Kapalbhati nor the practice of Bhastrika, so there will be no blood flow to the brain. Okay? But definitely the velocity might get altered. Okay? So there are a couple of studies But again, since there are no many studies, so here we cannot draw any conclusion. But using fMRI, one of the common things the scientists used to say, if you do meditation, there will be more density of a dendron called spinal dendrites. And because of the density of the spinal dendrites, your cortex will become more thicker. Okay, so by using MRI, by using fMRI, you can definitely measure, you can definitely evaluate the thickness of the cortex. That is one of the common phenomena we observe. But in some of the studies, the scientists have said if you do meditation, hippocampal gyrus will get activated. Hippocampal, some of the studies say hippocampal gyrus. Some of the studies say the unilateral activation of the hippocampal. Some of the studies say bilateral activation. Some of the studies say some other cortical area. Again, this MRI and fMRI based studies, we have not arrived at any conclusion yet. What about the neuropsychological? There are many tools. In fact, in neuropsychological assessment, there are many tools. One of the tools I have shown here, this is called Tower of London. There is another tool called Stroop test. There are many tests. And the scientists in India, scientists in abroad, so they have seen the intervention of yoga. They have assessed the intervention of the yoga, evaluated the intervention of the yoga. Okay, again, no single findings, no single finding. Okay, as for example, there are many scientific studies. If you do meditation, probably your planning ability improves. If you do meditation, your eye and hand coordination improves. If you do meditation, there will be inhibition, response inhibition. The reaction time also improves. There are many findings. Working memory improves. Your attention span improves. Sustained attention improves. Focused attention improves. So in spite of all the findings, we are not arriving at single conclusion again. This is biofeedback. Using the biofeedback, definitely we have come to a different, yes. So biofeedback, using the biofeedback, so I could not find a proper instrument here. So using biofeedback, definitely we have come to a very good conclusion that if you do meditation or if you do any relaxation technique, you can definitely control your heart rate. You can definitely control your stress response. You can definitely control your respiration. You can definitely improve the blood circulation to the periphery of the body. So all these are well established. But I will tell you why. What are the challenges in the scientific research? The challenges are many. We cannot reproduce the results. We cannot reproduce. Probably, the subjects have lack of experience, or subjects are not inclined to yoga practices. We force them to come to the lab. So reproducibility is, I would say, we are not in a position to reproduce our results. There are many confounding variables. Like for example, you will restrict some of the subject not to eat this, not to eat that. In spite of all your instruction, they will keep eating. You restrict them to go for walking, to go for playing the football while your assessment is on. In spite of all that, without they will keep ignoring an instruction, and in spite of all that, they will go for playing. And definitely the laboratory settings varies. Sensitivity, if a subject is very good, he is very sensitive enough. If the subject is very good, it will be quite hard for the subject to get himself or herself acclimatized to the laboratory environment. And definitely I said there is lack of experience in yoga or lack of inclination in the yoga. In 2 days, you cannot expect the finding of yoga. Okay? It takes months together to see its efficacy. Definitely, some of the asana practices can bring wonders. Like, for example, some lumbar stretch can help you to get rid of your back pain. Okay? But you cannot expect the results of yoga over hours or overnight. You cannot expect the results. And definitely placebo. Yoga practices, okay? The name you hear the word yoga, definitely you can satisfy your mind. You can please your mind. That is all placebo effect. So I can say the spirituality is absolutely subjective. It is absolutely subjective. And the subjective experience varies from individual to individual. But the scientific findings are very objective. But I would say objectivity also varies. Objectivity also varies. Why the objectivity varies? Because the physiology of a human body is a dynamic phenomena. It's a dynamic phenomenon. So if you record something today, probably it might not exist tomorrow. The value that you record tomorrow might not exist day after tomorrow. So our body physiology is a random phenomena. Okay? It's a dynamic phenomena. So that could be one of the logic we can give. And I can say the spiritual experiences cannot be assessed using any scientific tools. Only a master can anticipate those experiences, but not the tools. But not the tools. Only a master can anticipate what experiences you have attained, whether you are telling lie or not. But the ordinary people like us cannot anticipate it, cannot predict it. So therefore, I always appreciate the contribution done by B.K. Saingal, Guruji. So he had restricted himself into asana because he knew it is quite hard to get into the spiritual practices. So he focused a lot about the biomechanic principle. He focused a lot about the alignment principle of the asana. He focused a lot about the other thing. Similarly, I'll appreciate the Bihar School of Yoga for their wonderful literature. I'll appreciate Esvyasa for their, therapeutic work. Okay? Therapeutic work. I'll appreciate Mangalore University the way they are training the students. And there are many other, Lonavala contribution is great in, I would say the Kriya. Santa Cruz, the contribution is great. Yoga Mandiram Chennai, the contribution is great. So every school is doing their best to prove that yoga is not only spiritual, they are also trying to prove it scientifically. So that is what I just wanted to tell before you, submit before you. Thank you.